Greetings, everyone. My name is McMillan, and I'm an inductee into the Brantford and Area Sports Hall of Recognition. I'm honored today to have Leanne McMillan for the sport of figure skating. And Leanne, remind me what year you were inducted into the Sports Hall. Was it 84?
Yes, it was.
So 1984, Leanne was inducted, so a couple of years ago. Anyways, welcome, Leanne.
Thank you.
We're just going to have a little chat about and I'm going to ask you some questions and learn a little bit about your story and your experience into the Sports Hall. So the first question I have is, what drew you into the sport of figure skating?
When I was 4 years old, my mom enrolled me into the Brantford Skating Club, and she wanted me to learn how to skate. So my first figure skating coach was Mrs. Muriel Shearer, and anyone who has skated with the skating club knows that name. And as you progress through the sport, you're required to skate more hours, more time through the season. So I was encouraged to skate all year round. So at one point, I started to skate 4 seasons of the year. So my first experience was at a summer school, which they held at the Brant Curling Club.
Mm-hmm.
And ice was very limited. So skaters and coaches from all over Ontario came here to skate off season. And Mrs. Shear at one point was no longer doing the off-season coaching. So there was a group of skaters from the Preston Figure Skating Club and under the direction of Carrie Leach. So at her suggestion, I was encouraged to start taking lessons from him. So that's how my career began in the pair skating. Eventually I was partnered up with someone and ended up at the World Championships.
Yeah, and probably a lot of stuff happened in between there.
Yeah, there's a lot to get there,
Yeah.
but in a nutshell,
Yeah.
that's basically
Yeah,
all to learn how to skate. So I
That's-
guess I learned how to skate.
yeah. Introduction into the sport. Do you have any mentors that have helped you in your sport or job or work or life in general? Any mentors?
Many mentors, many mentors. The first obviously would be my mom and dad, right? The amount of sacrifices and time and dedication and everything that they gave me to be successful in my sport. So they gave me a good start. I had wonderful opportunities to work with many different coaches and choreographers and trainers, and had exposure to international seminars that provided these international coaches. Great learning opportunities. But I think the most impactful mentors were my fellow skaters. I was in a club where we had older competitors, and I was able to watch them every day, how hard they worked, how hard they trained, their dedication, their work ethic through failures and successes. So I was exposed to that every day. And they were fun. They were fun. And they were my second family away from home, because I was away from home so much. That's where I trained.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot from them. They were a good example, and I learned a lot from them.
I like the word fun, because if you're not having fun doing it, it's hard to stick with it.
Yeah, it's if you're not having fun and you love what you're doing, even when it's hard and not going well, it's hard.
Yeah,
It's hard.
sure. Highlights. I'd like to know what some of your highlights are in your career.
Well, the greatest highlight would be making the World Championships.
Yeah.
Right, in 1978, and I was 15 years old. So at the beginning of that season in October, I was without a partner. We had just come off the national championships, and I was at the novice level. We had won the silver medal. But my partner had retired because he was a little bit older, and he was going overseas to continue his education. So I started that season just single skating. But another partnership had just ended, and a partner became available. So that was at the beginning of October, and the competitive season started in November. So we had a few hurdles to jump to get there. So I had just finished coming off a novice level career and would now have to compete at the senior level. So I had a new partner. I had to learn how to skate with him. There were new elements to learn. There were 2 programs to learn. So in the novice level, there's only 1 program. In the senior level, there's a short program and a long program. And to qualify to even compete, I had to get through 2 Skate Canada tests. So that was a lot to get through in 4 weeks. And on top of that, I was in grade 10, and I still had to make sure I was getting homework done, I was getting tests done, and getting assignments passed because I wasn't at school.
Yeah.
And we did it. We did it. It was hard. There was so much work, but by January, we had made the Canadian Championships. We landed on the podium, and we earned a berth to the World Championships. So it was something.
Well,
it was something.
Quite a trip.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty amazing. How has figure skating impacted your life?
Oh, figure skating impacts my life to this day. Figure skating's hard. It's hard. And there's a lot of hours, like hours after hours of practice. You fall, the bruises, the cold.
Yeah.
And you learn, as a competitive skater, you have to learn tools to get you through these things. And it's a lot of dedication, and it's not always fun. And there's some really, really difficult times. And you can't always control everything. So you learn tools to be able to cope with these things. And I think all of those tools as a competitive skater carry over into everyday life. I think sport reflects life, right? Life is hard. You fall. You have to get back up. There's bruises. There's bumps in the road. So life doesn't stop. You have to maneuver your way around. So everything that I've learned in skating, I've been able to take over to my everyday life, even into my coaching. So it's given me a lot of tools to deal with life.
So true. And true, if you fall, you get back up, and that's how you learn, right?
Right. There are good days and there are bad days.
Well, what does it mean to you to be inducted into the Brantford Area Sports Hall of Recognition?
It's very humbling. And I think ultimately it gives you a chance to reflect. When you're an athlete, that's just your everyday life. You're not really thinking about the end game per se. Every day you get up, you've got goals to achieve, things to accomplish, and your mind is set on that. And then, 10 years later, you're retired. Well, then another 30 years later, you've gone through your coaching career. And then all of a sudden you're in this Hall of Recognition, and it gives you a chance to go back and think, oh, I really did do some kind of extraordinary things that you just kind of take for granted. And you can appreciate the people that helped you get along the way. And it makes you proud. It makes you humble. Yeah. It's a good time to reflect and think, oh, gee, maybe I did do some things.
You did.
Yeah.
Not maybe, you did. Last question. If you were speaking with a young aspiring athlete, what message would you give them?
These weren't questions I was prepared for, Rick. What would I think there would be a couple of things. that you have to be yourself, that you can't compare yourselves to other athletes. Everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. And Wayne Gretzky was Wayne Gretzky. There will never be another Wayne Gretzky. There will only be one Leanne Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to focus on yourself and concentrate on your goals and your ambitions and what things you can do. And I think that's important. You can only control so many things. You can't control everything in your sporting career. So you are responsible for controlling what you can. So work hard, put the time in. It's important to just stay on your path, and you have to love it, because we've talked about this already. It's not always fun, and it's not always easy. It's hard. It's a lot of work, and you have to want to put the time into it. And it's through those hard days and difficult times that you still have to love the sport to go back and finish your work.
Sure.
So be true to yourself and be committed to what you love and work hard at it.
Good messages. Excellent, excellent messages. Well, thank you, Leanne, for sharing a little bit about yourself and your experience into the sports hall and your messages. I'd like to welcome and hope that everybody comes down to the Brantford and Area Sports Hall of Recognition at the Wayne Gretzky Center, and we'd love to see you there. Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you.